There's a stretch of highway in Nevada where you can drive for 3 hours and not see another car. They call it the Lonely Highway. I used to love that drive. I loved the solitude. But I learned that solitude is a double-edged sword. When you are alone, you are peaceful. But when you are alone and vulnerable, you are prey. In 2022, my car died on that road, and when help arrived, I made the mistake of thinking that anyone with a winch and a hook was a savior. I was driving my old Honda Civic from Las Vegas to Reno. It was 2:15 a.m. I hit something. A rock? A piece of a tire? I don't know, but the front passenger tire blew out instantly. I wrestled the steering wheel, fighting to keep the car on the road. I drifted onto the gravel shoulder and came to a dusty halt. I sat there for a moment, shaking. The silence of the desert rushed back in. It was absolute. No crickets, no wind, just the ticking of my cooling engine. I checked my phone. 1 bar of service, 3G, just enough to make a call. I dialed my roadside assistance provider. Let's call them AutoAid. AutoAid, this is dispatcher Brenda. Are you in a safe location? I'm on Route 375, I said, my voice trembling. Mile marker 22. My tire blew, and I think the axle is bent. I can't drive it. Okay, honey, stay in the car, keep the doors locked. I'm dispatching a truck now, but listen, you're way out there. It's going to be at least 60 to 90 minutes. Can you hold tight? I don't have a choice, I said. I hung up. I locked the doors. I turned off the headlights to save the battery. I sat in the pitch black. 5 minutes passed. Then I saw headlights in my rearview mirror. 2 massive yellow beams cutting through the dark. They were coming fast. A truck slowed down and pulled onto the shoulder in front of me. The amber caution lights on its roof flashed rhythmically. Flash, flash, flash. It was a tow truck, an old rusted flatbed. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Thank God, I whispered. That was fast. I assumed there must have been a truck already on patrol nearby. I grabbed my purse and stepped out of the car. The driver got out. He was a big guy. He wore a greasy jumpsuit that might have been blue once, but was now stained black. He wore a baseball cap pulled low. He didn't look at me. He just walked to my front tire, kicked it, and grunted. Blown out, he said. His voice was deep and flat. Yeah, I said. Are you with AutoAid? He didn't answer. He just walked to the back of his truck and started pulling the chains. Clank, rattle. I can take you to the shop in Tonopah, he grunted. Get in the cab. He hooked my car up efficiently. He knew what he was doing. I climbed up into the passenger seat of the tow truck. The cab smelled terrible. It smelled like stale cigarettes, wet dog, and something sweet like rotting fruit. The dashboard was covered in trash, fast food wrappers, old newspapers. There was no computer terminal, no GPS screen, just an old CB radio that was turned off. The driver climbed in. He put the truck in gear, and we pulled onto the highway. Thank you for coming so fast, I said, trying to be polite. The dispatcher said it would be an hour. He didn't look at me. He just stared at the road. I was close, he mumbled. We drove in silence for 10 minutes. The tension in the cab was suffocating. I noticed something strange about the passenger door. The handle was missing. Not the latch, but the actual plastic lever to open the door from the inside. It had been snapped off. I felt a prickle of unease. Just an old truck, I told myself. It's a beater. Then my phone buzzed. It was in my lap. I looked down. Incoming call, AutoAid dispatch. I frowned. Why were they calling me back? I answered it, bringing the phone to my ear. Hello? Sarah? It's Brenda, the dispatcher. Hi, honey. I just wanted to update you. I found a driver, Al's Towing, but he's coming from Alamo. He says he's about 45 minutes away. He just left the garage. My blood froze. The world seemed to stop spinning. What? I whispered. He's 45 minutes out, Brenda repeated. So just sit tight, okay? Keep the doors locked. I slowly moved the phone away from my ear. I looked at the man driving the truck next to me. If the truck was 45 minutes away, who was I sitting with? The driver turned his head. He looked at me. In the glow of the dashboard lights, I saw his eyes. They were cold, dead. "Who's that?" he asked. His voice wasn't a mumble anymore. It was sharp, alert. "It's my mom," I lied. My voice cracked. "Just checking in." He stared at me for a second too long. Then he looked back at the road, but he reached down and locked his door. Click. I looked out the windshield. We weren't heading towards Tonopah anymore. He had turned onto a dirt access road. We were heading straight into the desert. "Where are we going?" I asked. "The shop is on the highway." "Shortcut," he said. He reached under his seat. I heard the sound of metal sliding on metal. He pulled out a knife, a long, serrated hunting knife. He set it on the dashboard between us. He didn't say a word. He just put the knife there, a silent message. "Don't try anything." I looked at my phone. The call with dispatch was still active. I hadn't hung up. I put the phone back to my ear. "Hello?" "Brenda," I whispered. "Help me," I breathed. "I'm in a truck. It's not Al. He has a knife." The driver slammed on the brakes. He grabbed my wrist. His grip was like iron. "Give me the phone," he growled. "Let me go," I screamed. I tried to open my door. The handle was gone. I clawed at the panel. He lunged at me with the knife. I kicked him. I kicked the gear shift. The truck was still running. I kicked it into neutral. The truck started to roll. We were on a slight incline. He was distracted by the rolling truck. He reached for the brake. I grabbed the heavy metal thermos sitting in the cup holder. I swung it with both hands. I hit him right in the temple. He groaned and slumped back against the driver's door. I scrambled over him. I unlocked the driver's side door and fell out onto the dirt. I ran. I didn't look back. I ran into the darkness of the desert. I hid behind a cluster of sagebrush about 100 yards away. I watched the truck. The driver stumbled out. He was holding a flashlight. The beam swept across the desert. "Sarah," he screamed, "I'm not done with you." He searched for 10 minutes, but then, in the distance, blue and red lights appeared on the highway. The real tow truck and a police cruiser. The man saw the lights. He jumped back into his truck. He detached my car, just dropped it right there on the dirt road, and sped off into the darkness, turning his lights off to vanish. The police found me 20 minutes later. They put out an APB on the truck, an old rusted flatbed with no markings. They found it the next day. It was abandoned in a ravine about 50 miles south. It had been set on fire, torched to destroy the evidence. But the police found something the fire didn't destroy. Welded to the bed of the truck, underneath where a car would sit, was a cage. A human-sized cage hidden beneath a metal plate. He wasn't a tow truck driver. He was a predator who patrolled the lonely highway with a police scanner. He listened for breakdowns. He raced the real companies to the scene. He relied on the fact that when people are scared and stranded, they don't check for ID. They just get in the vehicle. I got my car fixed, but I sold it a week later. I don't drive at night anymore, and I joined AAA. But now, whenever I call them, I ask the dispatcher one question before I hang up. What is the driver's name, and what is the license plate number? Because if a truck pulls up and the plate doesn't match, I'm keeping my doors locked and I'm gripping my tire iron tight.